This is Rob Carbone, and you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis.
Barrett from shake and bake, hits a three. Stands alive in the crowd with Barrett 5 on the 24. Barrett previously in the air ball. The drive, the land, backs him home. Gets it back, keeps it out Barrett. Barrett for three. RJ Barrett from Dallas. Quick trigger three. Gets another triple. Looking for more. Flip to the buzzer. Now it's gone. J.R. Smith from way downtown at the buzzer. Novak, good open look. Puts it in. Elliott to Ewing. That'll make the Garden War. Ewing faced a double team, but still was able to hit. Smith to finish. And the foul. Novak, good open look. Puts it in. Excellent ball to Houston. Houston ducks under. Got it. With 8 tenths left.
What is going on, guys? This is Rob Carbone coming at you with another episode of BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Episode 119 tonight of BD4. Gonna do the same thing we've been doing. Keep following along. I appreciate you guys if you've been following along, and we're just gonna keep doing, the little prospect review here. Still on the late first, second round guys, and we're gonna work our way down to the lotto players eventually. And there's not a superstar talent in this draft, but I do think it's a draft that is pretty heavy when it comes to solid complementary role players. I think it's going to develop, it's going to have a few solid players, a good supporting cast type of players. So you're not going to find your Zion Williamson, your Ja Morant, RJ Barrett, but you're going to find some solid, some solid players, some solid role playing players. So thank you guys for stopping by. We're going to touch on Jaden McDaniels tonight in just a little bit, but before we get to all that, I just want to thank you, for coming by and supporting the podcast. You guys know I do this just because I love it. I don't do it for anything else. Anything else is a bonus. The compliments, the criticism, for those who share, like, comment, subscribe, I appreciate all of that. But if you haven't subscribed, or if you're new or something, be sure to follow us. Subscribe to the podcast. We're on many platforms. Anywhere from iTunes to Google to Spotify, SoundCloud, Anchor. The video cast is up on YouTube where you could actually watch the podcast, and many more platforms as well. All you have to do to subscribe, download, and watch the podcast and listen to it, all you got to do is go to my website. Just go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. That's all you have to do. Go to that website and it'll take you to where you need to be. But yeah, Jaden McDaniels is who we're going to break down tonight. This is a combo forward out of Washington. Played for the Huskies for just one season before he was declared to be a one and done prospect. 19-year-old kid, very, very young, not 20 until September. So very young, 6'10", 210 pounds with a 6'11 and a half wingspan. Now those are unofficial, but there's been some, I couldn't find an exact height, weight, wingspan for him, but I think that's pretty much accurate given the amount of, times I've seen this kid in film. He looks like he's about 6'10", 210 pounds. And I've been watching a lot of his film. It was in February where I was about to cover him, but I never really got to it, got busy, but we're doing it tonight. We're going to break down Jaden McDaniels, who's, in my opinion, somebody with a lot of boom or bust potential. He could end up being really, really good. We've heard some pretty hefty comparisons. We've heard Brandon Ingram, KD, and then he could be somebody who's not so great. I think the middle ground here is he could possibly be someone like Jonathan Isaac. We've heard those comparisons at least. Isaac's a solid player, scores in double figures, gives you a little bit of rebounding, and then good shooting from the perimeter. So I think that's a decent comparison too. If he doesn't hit his ceiling, the question is he just kind of flat out bust, or can he have a middle ground? So yeah, we're going to talk about McDaniels a bit tonight, guys, and I appreciate you stopping by. So once again, really quick, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, just go to my website and do all that. So we're going to get to McDaniels, break him down, the strengths, the weaknesses, and why he may or may not fit on this New York Knicks roster in just a minute. But yeah, we've got a little bit of a different setup tonight, if you haven't noticed, or if you're watching the podcast at least. If you're listening to the pod, you probably have no clue what I'm talking about. But if you're watching the podcast, we did some rearranging in the studio tonight. Today, I had nothing to do, quarantine. So did a little rearranging, and we're kind of in a little bit of a different area in the studio, but pretty much, yeah, nothing to do. Quarantine. What else am I to do? What else is there? But yeah, let's head to break, and as soon as we get back, we're going to talk about Jaden McDaniels, guys. All right. Hey fellas, really quick, I just want to remind you, in order to subscribe to BD4, to subscribe to my blog, and to follow me on social media, all you have to do is go to my website. That's it. Just go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Once again, that is nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Once there, guys, that will display all of my information. Where to subscribe to the podcast, how to subscribe to my blog, and where to follow me on social media. Guys, thank you so much, and let's get back to the show. He was a one-and-done prospect. He played for just one season there at Washington, but kind of a disappointing season there. I know many folks really expected a five-star recruit to go there and dominate, and they had big high hopes for somebody like Jaden McDaniels. He didn't really live to that expectation with Washington. Dealt with a little bit of injury, got benched a few times because of his inconsistent play, and really wasn't as great as folks were hoping him to be. But still, overall, I think the talent is there. That's one thing you can't deny. You could talk about anything else. You could hit on him for, get on him for a bunch of shit, but I think the talent is there. The upside is there, and all in all, it still wasn't a terrible season for the combo forward, averaging 13 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists on 41% from the field on 11 attempts, 34% from 3 on 4 attempts, and 76% from the free throw stripe on 4 attempts. Defensively, he got you 1.4 blocks per game and 0.8 steals per game. The turnovers and fouls, 3.2 turnovers, 3.3 personal fouls, and did all of this across 31 games where he started in 21 of them and played an average of 31 minutes per night. So those are his numbers for his freshman one-and-done year. Now he's a player who I think will have some interesting eyes on. There's going to be people paying attention to this kid just because they want to see how he pans out. Again, we mentioned the comparisons. We've heard Brandon Ingram, some, baby KD, people called him. That's not, that may sound like a lazy comparison just because of the build, or obviously people are referring to his slender build, but I also think they're similar in terms of just their play style, his upside. Yeah, I think he's very similar to them in those areas as well. But Jonathan Isaac, like we mentioned, I think that's more likely the scenario here if he's somebody who doesn't pan out to be a star. I still think there can be a middle ground, but there is some boomer bust potential here as well. So we don't really know. It's very up in air because of his inconsistent season there as a Husky. I still think he's going to be mid to late first. I think there's a possibility he will fall to the Knicks at 27, which is what they're expected to draft at. And I would take him. I would take him just because I like his tool set. I think, for one of the pros I have here, the first one we'll start with is He's very mobile. I like his mobility. He's a very fluid and smooth athlete who moves very well with and without the basketball. You'll always see him sprinting on cuts. He's a very good backdoor cutter, always going for the lob on the backdoor cut. Very aware of where he is on the floor, very aware of where the defense is, aware of where his teammates is, and gives them good spacing because of his ability to play as a cutter. And excels in transition. Somebody who runs the floor exceptionally well, a good trailer, but can also run the floor with the ball in his hands, and go coast to coast off of a defensive rebound. Crafty, pretty shifty with the ball in his hand, has a tight handle. He can create space very well for a big, a smooth pull-up jumper. He likes to go to that pull-up a lot. That's kind of his go-to move. Also has a solid step back. And because of his ability to put the ball on the floor and his length, he can get to the rim exceptionally well because of his long strides and his lankiness. That's all pretty impressive, right? For a big, a guy 6'10" with just about a 7-foot wingspan. He's a big with guard skills, and that in the NBA is very invaluable. I think teams love that. NBA GMs love that shit. And I think I would take my chances on a player, with a guard's tool set as a big. Now his shooting ability is his main thing offensively. I think that's what he's going to be. He's going to be a great jump shooter if he can figure everything out. He's great off the pull up. Again, we mentioned his pull up game is on point. That's how he shoots. Very good at elevating over defenders on that pull-up jumper. He can also catch and shoot a little bit too. So he's got a versatile skill set when it comes to shooting the basketball. Now, shot just 34% from three, which is more average than anything, a little below average maybe, but it's the clean, quick release, the high release point, no wasted movement in that jump shot. That kind of gives me the optimism, that he'll be a promising shooter eventually. I think the upside is there as a shooter. And again, he elevates very well over defenders when he pulls up. So I think there's an ability there. There's the potential to be a very good shooter. And I think in the NBA, with better spacing, I think that's going to improve his efficiency as well. Projects to be a good 3-level scorer as well. This kid, we mentioned the 3-point potential, also has a great mid-range game, can get to the rim very well, does need to work with the finishing a little bit, but has a good floater to go to. So he doesn't always have to pull up or doesn't always have to just drive and throw it down. He can go in between and throw that floater in there too, because he's got a pretty soft touch when it comes to that, throwing up that float. Defensively now, I think he's a pretty versatile defender just because of his unique combination of coordination, mobility, and length. I think he's going to be a good defender in the NBA because of that. He's pretty long. He'll move well side to side. Despite being long, he can still move pretty quickly side to side, and that's going to help him protect the rim. It's going to help him be a pest on the perimeter. It's gonna help him be a good playmaker defensively. Speaking of, he averaged 1.4 blocks and just under 1 steal per game in 31 minutes this past season. So pretty nice, numbers to rack up some steals and blocks as a 6'10" combo forward. Now, offensively as a playmaker, it's not great, but I do think there's a lot of upside there as well. Watching tape on him, watching some film, he has shown some flashes, guys. I've seen him hit some very tight windows. He can thread the needle pretty well at times, at least. He's shown the ability to, get a pass off a screen and pick and roll. He's shown some downhill potential as a playmaker. He has shown the ability to make some really nice, quick zip passes as well. I think there's an upside there for him to be a playmaker, maybe eventually somebody who can give you 3-4 at max 5 assists per game. Again, that's if he lives up to his hype. Now there are some downsides to this kid's game as well. The obvious one we'll start with is the lack of strength, right? That's a huge concern. Big concern is that very slender frame that he has. The height, the weight combination is not good, right? He's weighs about $2 and he's just under 7 feet. So that's the durability issues. That's a concern. Is he going to stay healthy? He's always prone to that. There's always that question is if he's going to, come down wrong someday and injure himself badly. So there's always that concern. And that size, that lack of mass, I guess, is kind of gonna give him some issues in the NBA unless he hits the gym. He's gonna struggle against those versatile, not versatile, those more physical, you know, forwards when he's attacking the rim. He's already had some finishing issues in college. If he gets to the NBA, players are only going to get faster, bigger, better, and stronger when he's in the restricted area. So he's going to have to find a way to kind of deal with that. He's going to get pushed around a lot in the NBA unless he gains some muscle. So it's going to struggle versus the physical players, that's for sure, unless he can find a way to at least gain some muscle. But how much muscle can this kid really gain? He's already got, it's a pretty natural slender build that he has. He's got narrow shoulders, so I don't think it's going to be hard to really gain that much muscle. You kind of who you are. You can gain as much muscle as you like, but he's not going to turn into LeBron, just like that, or even half of that. So that's definitely a big concern of mine. I also have down that he's very inefficient as a playmaker on both ends of the floor. He led the Pac-12 in both fouls and turnovers this past season. So foul woes were bad. He averaged 3.3 personal fouls in 31 minutes. So he's going to have to cut them down. He's going to have to discipline up. The Knicks already have some disciplining issues when it comes to their defense. So that's an issue. And then playmaking offensively, he's got some issues as a passer. This was really bad. When I looked at the numbers here, this was really bad. 65 assists versus 100 turnovers at Washington this past season. That's terrible. 65 versus 100 is not a good look. Even the other way around wouldn't be a good look either. So that's bad. So he's gonna need a ton of coaching, man. Listen, he's gonna need a ton of coaching just because of these flaws. He's going to be a raw project out of the gate, somebody who I don't expect to be ready immediately. 19-year-old kid, skinny, probably going to take some time in the G League before he gets really legitimate time in the NBA, any legitimate time in the NBA. So, is that the best fit to go to the Knicks and expect them to develop you properly? Because we've seen how they treat their young kids, right? Is it going to work are the Knicks the best fit for this kid? I want him really bad, but is his potential going to be maximized? Are they going to optimize his ceiling here? I don't know, because the Knicks, knowing them, they know how to regress a damn player. DSJ, look at Kevin Knox, look at Frank, not really any large improvement in his game. Look at, many players like that. Kevin Knox should have been in the G League. What did they do? They sporadically gave him 15 minutes, sometimes 2 minutes, sometimes didn't play him in the NBA, and that didn't help his development. DSJ, look at this kid. He's heading towards bust territory ever since he got to the Knicks. He's been going downhill. So they don't know how to develop players over there. They prioritize their vets, right? They play all the old guys, all the short-term guys on these one-on-one deals, and they don't play the kids that are supposed to be part of their long-term plan. So is Jaden McDaniels really the best fit for the Knicks? I want him. I think the talent is immense. I think the upside is there. He could be a very strong player, potentially an all-star caliber player, maybe a steal someday. But will that come with the Knicks? I don't know. I don't think unless they can figure it out overnight and all of a sudden become one of the best, farm systems and one of the best one of the best coaching organizations, one of the most well-coached organizations overnight. Sure, but let's be realistic here. That's going to be a very iffy question here. So that's pretty much it. I've also, the last two things I've got for weaknesses here for McDaniels is that he's not a great rebounder for his size, and also that his shot selection is poor sometimes. Sometimes he'll fall in love with that go-to pull-up jumper, where he's going to start taking contested pull-ups often. He should find the open man sometimes a little bit more, and I think all of that can cause, kind of causes that inconsistency, during the games or over the course of a season from him. But yeah, overall, solid player who really, really, really could thrive on a team that really utilizes him correctly. And is that the Knicks? Probably not, but it hurts to say because I really want this kid. I would love to see him on a team that would. I would love to see him on the Knicks, but there's always that worry in the back of my mind. Are they really going to develop him properly. If he comes to the Knicks, he'll probably be somebody who busts. And I really don't want that to happen. So I want the best for this kid, but I'm selfish. I'm a Knicks fan, and I would love for him to be on the Knicks. So I'm two-sided on that. But thank you guys for stopping by. That's really it tonight. I hope that was a good episode. I hope I didn't bore you too much. I hope I didn't go too fast. Sometimes I have a tendency to talk too fast. But if you guys enjoy it, be sure to download it, like it, subscribe to BD4, on our website. And I think that's pretty much all we've got in this one, guys. I appreciate you stopping by. It's always good, guys. It's always good to get support. So, Rob Carbone, BD4, episode 119 of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. All right, ciao.